if you're a fitness coach, there are a lot of things in the business that you need to track, but you might not know what to actually track. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what to track as an online fitness coach. If you don't know me, I'm Jack. I'm the owner and founder of The Coaches Trainer. We help fitness coaches like you scale their fitness business, so ultimately you can have time, location, and financial freedom. Okay, so I've written out a few things here because I cannot, for the life of me, I can't script, but I can go off bullet points. So if you see me looking down, I'm actually reading off my laptop, so excuse me. But I've kind of condensed it into 5 key areas that I would try and work towards. And if you actually started to do this, you would notice a huge uplift in two things, which is one, your mindset to business or your mindset in business. So if you actually treat your business like a business, it starts to move properly. Who knew? And then two, you get less anxious in the business because you can basically look at this from a logical standpoint, not an emotional standpoint. Okay. As a inexperienced business owner, you're probably quite emotional in business. Not your fault, it just is. But if you have like data to track, it makes everything a bit nicer, a bit less anxious driven. Okay, so number one is going to be lead flow. Okay, that's mission number one. Okay, so how many new leads are we getting? Where are they coming from? These are the key bits of information that I would have as a business owner. By the way, how do I track these? Google Sheet. Literally go onto Google Sheet and then it says create brand new spreadsheet and just literally just have like date and then like leads for the week and then you can just start tracking these. Okay, the reason why we track leads is because fundamentally from a business, it without sales you don't have a business, right? So you might be the best coach in the whole entire world, but if you're checking in nobody, you're not going to be the best online coach in the whole entire world. A lot of online fitness coaches, which I do like, but a lot of online fitness coaches at the start, what they'll do is they'll go into like, I need gun education, which is fine. But one of the best ways to learn is on the job. So if you can actually have the ability to sell straight away, and you get bums on seats, you have a faster learning curve versus if you're just pissing around with education. Education is very important, wildly important. However, you can't coach no one, so you have to learn about marketing and sales. This is basically what happens with fitness coaches, by the way, is that they gun education. They have no inquiries, no sales, no leads. Then they start with the marketing side. They get pissed off with it because they've been doing it for like 3 years and they just leave. I'll do it the other way around. That's my advice, okay? So, number one, track lead flow. How many new leads are we getting in every single week? Is it consistent? What's the quality like, okay? Out of the inquiries, how many book on a call? How many booking links are we sending out? These are the things to actually track within your business, okay? Number two, sales calls. How many book calls are we getting every single week? What is the show rate to the calls? If we book on 10 for the week, how many actually show up to the call? A big one in my opinion. And then also close rate. So to go back, we have leads. How many new leads are we getting? Where are they actually coming from? Which is wildly important, by the way. A lot of people are just like, they kind of miss that data. But effectively, if you're posting on YouTube, TikTok, you're emailing, Instagram, and you don't know where these inquiries are coming from, that's a big problem. So you want to start tracking that early on. Okay. Book calls. How many book calls are you getting on every single week? What's the show rate like? And then what is my close rate? If you work out that, you can effectively know if it's worthwhile running paid ads, and or if you are running paid ads, is it profitable? Okay, which is huge. You can work out things like CAC, LTV, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Number three is retention and churn. Okay, so how many clients are leaving every single month? What is churn percentage? I do this over 3 months as well because month to month is a bit odd because you might get a month of just high churn and you might think, shit, it's like 50%, shouldn't be 50% by the way, but I would track it over an average, so I would track it over a longer period, and then I would also track LTV, so how much is a customer worth to me, how long do they typically stay, and then what is my average churn over 3 months. If you've got those three key bits of information, to be honest, on all of the business metrics that you have here, I would make this one the biggest priority, which is churn. Okay, because effectively you could actually scale by only having 1 to 2 net positive clients in the door every single month, but I would much rather, as a business owner, not have that be 10 in, 8 leave. I'd much rather have it as 5 in, 3 leave, or I would much rather have it as like fucking 3 and 1 leave, right? Because you have to work less with the whole marketing and sales department, okay? And it puts less pressure on that side as well, because as a fitness coach, you might go for a dry spell of like leads, or show rate might be a problem, or close rate might be a problem. And then if your churn is really high, and this is a problem in the sales department, the business is on the decline, okay? So obviously you don't want that. 4, most obviously, is going to be business metrics, revenue metrics, sorry, like monthly recurring, cash collected, revenue forecasted, and then also the average client values. It's kind of the same thing as LTV, but you kind of want to start to track that. If I'm going to give like actually just one important bit of information, it's going to be monthly recurring, just so you know where you stand on the first of every month. How much am I going to earn if no one leaves the service? How much am I going to earn? Okay, I think that's a huge and important bit of information, because if you know that, it just gives stability in the whole entire, I suppose, like month, right? It just gives stability in your business as a whole. One of the biggest questions that I get is, do I go upfront or do I go monthly? My thing is always kind of both, but you kind of want to go monthly. Reason for that is because it puts less pressure on sales. Okay, so let's just say, for example, monthly recurring, I make $5 grand a month, versus MRR, I made 15 grand last month, but then this month I've got 0. So it puts a lot of like anxious strain on the business, because you then have to like gun sales. And again, if you have a dry spell with lead flow, or the sales call, or the show rate is off, or the close rate is off, you're pretty bollocks, right? And it puts a lot of like, it gives the business a lot of like anxiety. I'd much rather be less volatile, less anxious in business, okay? And then 5, efficiency metrics. Things like client acquisition costs. So if you're running paid ads, how much is it costing to get bums on seats effectively? You can also do things like time to onboard a new client. The reason for that is because you could actually reduce client churn rate by onboarding them quick. So one of the biggest things I go through with TCT members is how quick can we actually onboard them so they actually get actionables quick. Because let's just say, for example, it's a Monday and I can onboard you on like next Monday. They have a week in that service to basically be like, this is pretty shit. You want to impress the fuck out of them straight away, because if you can impress the fuck out of someone straight away and they can see an ROI immediately, they're going to stay in service for ages. Okay, so I try and time how long it takes someone, or how long it takes a coach to actually onboard a client, so they can just get cracking into it. One of the biggest reasons for churn is that. Okay, so yeah, just basically speed that up a little bit. And then revenue per hour worked. This is a good one to track, because effectively you could be working 60 hours a week, which is hustle mentality, and then you could be earning $5 grand a month. But when you actually look at like how much you're actually earning on an hourly rate, you might as well go and get a job at Tesco's, right? So one thing to look at as a business owner is, how can I earn the most amount of money per hour? When I look at productivity, one of the biggest buzzwords in business is productivity, right? How can I be more productive in business? Okay, and a lot of the time, productivity is linked to work, all right? So it's linked to like, I'm so productive because I worked 8 hours, right? But to me, productivity is if I can do a task in 30 minutes, but it's taking you 8 hours, I'm more productive than you, right? So in that time frame, how much money am I making in that hour, right? Versus you, right? Because if my business, or if I have a business that's making 5k a month, but I'm only working 5 hours a week, versus you who's working 60 hours a week, who has time, financial, and location freedom truly? Because you could be in Dubai and earn 5k every single month, but if you're working 60 hours a week, when the fuck are you going to go outside? It's too hot for me anyway, but right. So when you look at revenue per hour worked, you'll realize where you're going wrong, if you're going wrong, okay? Because then, do I need to automate? Do I need to delegate? Do I just need a better process? You can start to look at these things as well. So to go back, the 5 main areas that I would look at tracking, and you can do this on a fucking spreadsheet, is lead flow, sales calls, client retention and churn, revenue metrics, and then also efficiency metrics. If you do that, you'll scale.